Tomorrow, Thursday, August 29th, marks Colorado's first game against North Dakota State, but it also marks the first edition of Deion Sanders versus college football.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I am your host, Kevin Borba. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. We are also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcast. So thank you guys for tuning in every day and making me your first listen of the day. Sorry about the late episode today. We had a little miscommunication with one of our guests. We're going to have an awesome preview of North Dakota State coming out tomorrow morning. It was supposed to come out today, but I digress. Here we are. It's college football versus Deion. What does that mean? College football versus Coach Prime. College football versus the Sanders family. Well, I've been looking in and around social media and sort of just looking at how people are treating this Deion Sanders game. And I think realistically, or not Deion Sanders game, how people are treating this Colorado game. I think realistically, a lot of people are wanting Colorado to lose. For reference, this is sort of the betting data provided by BetMGM. So the most bet games in college football this week are Colorado, North Dakota State, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, and then Clemson, Georgia. Colorado's number one. The most bet teams is at Colorado, 9.5. But there's also a lot of people betting on North Dakota State. So what does that mean? Well, this week, all it shows us is truly that people struggle to separate their feelings from Deion Sanders with college football in general, right? I think a lot of people are hoping Colorado loses. I've seen so many messages. I've received messages where it's like, if Colorado loses, the memes on the internet are going to be insane. If Colorado loses, it's going to be so funny. And I don't really think, now I'm not going to say this is exclusive to Colorado. Like, Texas fans will make fun of Texas A&M if they lose. The ACC, the rest of the ACC will make fun of Clemson if they lose to Georgia, because Florida State already lost. So it'd be like the two programs wanting to leave the conference lost their opening games. But I think for Colorado, it's a little bit different. And people have a hard time, what I've noticed, separating their dislike for Deion Sanders, because as we all know, not everyone likes him. It happens. Not everyone likes me. Not everyone likes you. That's life. But Deion Sanders is obviously, for the most part, depending on who you are, you might be more famous than him. I'm not. For the most part, Deion Sanders is the most famous person in this discussion, right? So when people don't like him, it's different. They rally behind whoever Colorado's playing because they want to see Deion Sanders embarrassed. And so I think there's this narrative that around college football, and I talked about it already, that people are tired of Colorado getting all this attention, but at the same time, they're the same ones prioritizing sort of making fun of Colorado if they lose, right? So if Colorado plays against this talented North Dakota State team and they lose by a touchdown, or they lose by 2 touchdowns, or say they lose by a game-winning field goal, people are going to make fun of Colorado, and it's sort of going to be forgotten where this program has been. Right before Deion Sanders came, they were 1-11. The year before that, or the 2 years combined before Deion Sanders came, they were 5-19. Not that you want to just reach 5 wins and be like, "Hey, look at, we've already surpassed that total in 13 games." But Deion Sanders is 1 win away from tying the amount of wins Colorado had in 24 games. Like, obviously, that's not the bar, but Deion Sanders is doing a hell of a job. Plus, he's in the process of rebuilding a program. And I think people are forgetting that. And so this isn't me saying that I think North Dakota State's going to lose. This isn't me coming out with excuses for Colorado if they do lose. Or this isn't me saying North Dakota State's going to win. I think Colorado wins. I think they win by about 12-ish points is where I'd go. But realistically, this is me saying that I think we as a society, we as a college football fan base, need to sort of grow up a little bit. Like, stop treating this Colorado program like they're enemy number one because you don't like Deion Sanders. If this Colorado team was super cocky and was super annoying like they were before the Oregon game, right? Which they stopped being cocky after that. I think they kind of had all the attention in the world on them. If they were coming into this season acting like that again, then I could see why people would dislike them. But realistically, people are treating Colorado as if it's a blue blood program trying to win its third title in a row, and that's just not the case. They are villainized because of Deion Sanders, because people dislike him. It's not fair to the program. Really, it's not fair to Deion Sanders that people are so avidly rooting against him, but that kind of comes with fame. But I do think it's a weird sort of situation where people are going out of their way to shoot Colorado down because of Deion Sanders. Like if this was any other head coach, they wouldn't care. And it would just be like, oh, Colorado's playing North Dakota State. So I digress. But all I'm going to say is Deion Sanders and Colorado, they have a chance to prove a lot of people wrong, to shut up a lot of critics tomorrow on Thursday evening when they welcome the Bison into town. Because obviously for 10 fans that support them, there's 20 that are preying on their downfall. That's just kind of how it goes for the Colorado Buffaloes in this Deion Sanders era. When we come back, I'm going to be talking about why tomorrow is a lose-lose for Colorado, or is a lose-lose in the eyes of most fans, but it's not a lose-lose for Colorado. This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by Gametime. I love going to live events. That's the best way. That's the best way to do stuff. And sometimes all these other ticket places, not sometimes, all the time, they are expensive. They have these hidden fees, but you know who does it? Gametime. Gametime also has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You also can go check out, or you can check out Gametime and you can see their seat view, which is my favorite feature because I think that's one of the hardest parts when deciding where to sit. It's like, what am I going to see? Am I going to get this angle? Am I going to be at the 50-yard line and see everything? Or am I going to be in the corner of the end zone where I'm only going to see half the game? With Gametime, you'll be able to know everything. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. This episode of Locked on Buffs is also brought to you by our sponsors over at FanDuel. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV and YouTube. Then, with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. I appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. You guys make this show happen, and I could not be more appreciative of that. Let's talk about this Colorado game being a lose-lose in the eyes of college football, but not for Colorado. Let me explain. So there's two ways this game can be viewed, right? Or three ways, or two, I guess, perspectives, we'll call it. The national fan perspective that I talked about in the first segment, that is sort of just rooting against Colorado, there's no winning with them. So before you guys get all worked up and get those Twitter fingers all fired up and ready to get into those social media battles, let's just remember, if Colorado wins, the narrative will be North Dakota State is an FCS team. You should beat them. You were favored by 10 points. North Dakota State is without their All-American safety. It's a different team, new head coach, first-year head coach. You should win. If you lose, it's, oh, Colorado, what are we doing? Colorado's become a meme, right? That's how it's going to be. But realistically, for me, this game has a lot more riding on it than people realize, I would say, around the whole college football landscape. And let me explain after this sip of water. Hydro Flask, sponsor me. For Colorado to win this game, yes, they're 10-point favorites, according to ESPN. Yes, their matchup predictor has them with a 71% chance of winning. Yes, they are a Power 4 team, and North Dakota State is a FCS team, even though they're, albeit, the best one in most years. This is a test, right? People don't I think people are choosing to selectively forget this. North Dakota State has beaten multiple Power 5 teams back when it was a Power 5. That's what they do. They are a team who they have just ruined seasons before. It's one of those things where people only care about it when it happens, in the sense of like people only care about North Dakota State beating Colorado because they beat Colorado. If they lose, it's like, oh, no one cares. It's North Dakota State. But as of this season, North Dakota State has won 9 of 13 games against Power 5, now Power 4 opponents, including they beat Minnesota in 2007 and 2011. They said, oh, you're trying to get your lick back? Don't worry. We'll beat you again. North Dakota State says, we don't give up. You know what? Kansas in 2010, not the most impressive win, but still a Power 5 win. They beat Kansas State in 2023. I mean, 2023. In 2013, they beat Iowa State in 2014 and Iowa in 2016. Mind you, the Iowa team was ranked. And so they are 9-3 all time against, or they're 9-3 against FBS opponents, and they've won 6 in a row since 2010, almost 7 in a row, I believe. But yeah, they've beaten a lot of quality teams. So for Colorado to beat them, it's not nothing. Like, excuse me, little mic issue. I'm not trying to shoot down other FCS opponents or FCS, but this isn't Colorado beating Colgate, or this isn't Colorado beating Delaware State or someone like that who just lost to Hawaii by 30, I think it was like 20 something points, and Hawaii was favored by like 40 points. It felt like this isn't that. This is a big win. And for Colorado, you're beating a team, different coach, I know, but you're beating a program that's won 11 championships or 9 championships since 2011. You're beating a team who basically they feast on all your weaknesses. They have a running quarterback, they have a strong run game, and they have a good defense. Those teams last year beat Colorado. That's how it went. If you beat them this year, you are showing that you improve. You are showing that Robert Livingston, your new defensive coordinator, who's never coordinated defense, he did all right. Your offense that had a really bad offensive line last year, they held up. Your rushing attack that was really weak last year. This year it's going to be led by Charlie Offerdahl, according to our weekly guest Scott Proctor. He gets a little things going. Him and Dallin Hayden, they get the run game going. And then Shedeur Sanders balls out. It says a lot. Like, I think we forget that even though there's different levels to college football, early in the season, anything can happen. Florida State went all the way to Dublin as the number 10 team in the country, as a team that was like, hey, we got snubbed from the playoff, and now we're going to go on a tour of vengeance. We're going to beat the living poop out of the ACC, and then we're going to leave. And they lost to Georgia Tech, who was 7-6 last year, I think it was, and is probably a middle of the pack ACC team this year. Like, things happen. Delaware State, I don't remember if it was 14-13 or 14-14, but at one point they tied or within 1 point of beating Hawaii. Montana State, they beat New Mexico. Montana State is supposed to it wasn't going to be a blowout for New Mexico, but New Mexico, Mountain West program, should have beat them, right? Anything can happen week 1. Week 1 is basically the universal trap game for all of college football. We're going to see some of the biggest powerhouses come out slow against teams, and everyone's going to be like, oh, Taco Bell Tech is leading Georgia 7-3 at the end of the first quarter, right? And that's just how it goes. It's going to be something similar for Colorado, I think. I think there's going to be a little bit of a lethargicness where Colorado has to get things going, but a win against North Dakota State is a big deal for Colorado, because Colorado, they started off 3-0 last year, but there was no substance to that 3-0. All the teams they beat ended up being bad, right? North Dakota State was an FCS playoff contender. I think they lost, I think it was in double overtime. They lost in overtime to end their season. So it's one of those things where, let me confirm. Yeah, they lost in double overtime to Montana, 31-29, in a game where they win and they're playing for a title. Like, this is not a nothing win. Don't let anyone tell you it is. This goes back to a lot of people are rooting against Colorado for the sake of rooting against Colorado. This is not a nothing win. This is not a lose-lose. Like, if Colorado wins, it doesn't just mean, yeah, they should have. It's a good win. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the latest NIL deal for one Mr. Shedeur Sanders. But first, a word from our sponsors over at 5 Hour Energy. After lunch, it's a big deal. We're all tired and we all want to take a nap. Are you tired after lunch? You're not alone. I'm always tired after lunch. I want to just call it a day and it's noon. In fact, research shows that more than 70% of us hit the wall after lunch. Let a 5 Hour Energy shot help you leap over that wall instead of crashing into it. With zero sugar and a convenient portable size, it's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. The 5 Hour Energy website has flavors galore like watermelon, tropical burst, grape, berry, and more. And there's a flavor for everyone. Try them all. On the site, you even have the option to build your own 12-pack or 24-pack. You choose the flavors, and it's delivered right to your door. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that's the number 5, hourenergy.com, and get 5 Hour Energy, your 5 Hour Energy product today, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONCFB, all caps, to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. This code is not good on subscription orders. Go to 5hourenergy.com today. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. I appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. We are climbing. We're nearing 6,000 subscribers. Would love to get there any day now. That'd be awesome. We're at 556-ish, 5,556 or 5,000. We're getting up there. Let's just put it that way. And I appreciate all the support that you guys give me. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, give me 5 stars, share this with a friend, and tune in because we got a hell of a season ahead of us. Shedeur Sanders, he inked a new NIL deal, and this is a big one. This isn't just Shedeur Sanders linking an NIL deal with a local sandwich shop, which, I mean, who doesn't love a good sandwich? I'm going to have one for lunch today. But this is him inking an NIL deal with Nike. Nike announced on Wednesday that Sanders signed the deal that will include licensed apparel and footwear. He's one of the most highly valued NIL athletes in all of college sports. He has currently the highest NIL valuation among all athletes at $4.7 million. There's no other athlete in the fours. Livy Dunn, the LSU gymnast, is second at 3.9. Arch Manning is also at 3.1. And then obviously there's other guys who Travis Hunter's in the top 5, if I remember correctly. So big deal for Shedeur Sanders. I'm really excited to see what the collaborations are. Obviously his dad has the shoe. So do they give him like a sort of a Shedeur Sanders special? I don't think he's going to get a signature shoe, but he's going to get some really cool merch. I live in California, and I'm going to tell you where I've seen Deion Sanders merch. I've seen a Deion Sanders almond commercial on the 99 or a billboard. I've seen a Deion Sanders shirt or Colorado shirt, if you will, Deion Sanders inspired. In my local Dick's Sporting Goods, which I live in the middle of California, so it's not like I live in LA or the Bay Area. Like I'm in the middle. Like it's random for that. Like it was really random. We get like 49ers Bay Area. We get 49ers, Oakland or Las Vegas Raiders now, Oakland A's stuff, Giant stuff. So for Deion Sanders to be in a random Dick's Sporting Good, pretty big deal. Where else have I seen it? Dallas. I saw it in Dallas. I've seen it in Georgia. Like I've seen it everywhere. So I can't imagine what the Shedeur Sanders merch is going to look like and where it's going to be, the reach is going to be. But for Colorado, what does this do for them? Because I think a lot of people see this as, oh, great, another deal for Deion Sanders' son. Well, again, Coach Prime, Colorado, they have a plan for life after Shedeur. They have to. And his name is Julian Lewis, right? They want to flip him from USC. They want to get him badly. So what better way to show that, hey, you could start here, you could win here, which obviously that requires winning, so TBD on that, and you could get big NIL deals here. Then do it with your quarterback. Shedeur Sanders is going to open so many doors for recruiting for Colorado at the quarterback position because he is sort of the guinea pig. He is patient zero in terms of, can Colorado do this? Can Colorado get attention? We know they can. Can Colorado win games? We've seen them partially do it. I think they'll do it this year. And can Colorado be the talk of college football? We know they can. So really, really awesome deal for Shedeur Sanders. He has some other really interesting NIL deals with companies like Gatorade, Google, Urban Outfitters, and then EA Sports. And then he also has a new podcast called Too Legendary with his older brother, I don't know if Shiloh's on, or the older brother Deion, not Shiloh. I'm not sure if Shiloh's on it, but I think it's just those two. But Shedeur has a lot of unique work coming up, so make sure to go check out all of his stuff. Big deal for Colorado. Kind of shows that they know how to maximize their brand. I appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. I will see you guys tomorrow morning again. Sorry about the late episode. When we dive into our Colorado, North Dakota State, everything you need to know, I'm going to have an FCS insider on the show so that way we can get educated. This has been another great episode of Locked On Buffs.